Welcome to the Connie G Show, everybody. My name is Conrad, and how are you, buddy? Today is the 5th of January, 2023, and I'm here in the shed again to talk to you guys about stuff that's going on in my world. Thoughts that are happening inside this head right there. So if you're watching my show on YouTube, you found... What the hell is wrong with... Check it out. You found Con Radio's YouTube channel. Thank you for finding it. Hit subscribe or don't. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you found the Connie G Show, or you found Con Radio. That's great. If you're listening on Patreon, on Con Radio's Patreon page, even better. It's free. But you can also take money out of your pocket and pay me with credit card form through Patreon if you enjoy the show and want to give me money. I don't care. Dude, I've phased past money, so I'm out on that. If you did, I would spend it on frickin' Diamond CBD. I would go to Diamond CBD through OK Taco Company. I go through Diamond CBD. I go to thewaterhead.com. And I click on Diamond CBD and I buy all... With every dollar you send me, I buy drug. Okay? If you want to buy drug, go to thewaterhead.com. Click Diamond CBD. Buy a drug. But with every dollar you subscribe on Patreon, I buy drug. Okay? That's a promise I'm going to make to you. Because why not? Because that's what we're out here doing. We're out here living in a world of drug. And if you're not on it, you are it. You are drug. If you're not doing drug, that means you're drug. Okay? So... Special shout out to special listener. One of my siblings graduated from her beautician school. Audrey, my little goddaughter, graduated from that. So she can't cut hair. Stop asking, guys. She does eyebrows. Okay, she does frickin' eyebrows. She's a waxer. She does waxing. So if you need a frickin' wax job, she can do it. I don't ask questions. I don't want to know. I ask for haircuts, and she doesn't do haircuts. So I don't know what else she does, but she's graduating and eating a delicious dinner right now, probably overpriced, but probably still good. So congratulations to her. One thing I was wondering... It's kind of a thought I've had. It's percolated for a very long time inside of my head. And I remember when the thought first happened. I was probably like 24 years old, 25 years old. And my dad, or my dad's buddy. My dad, see, that's the thing. It's always weird for me that adults have friends. You know what I mean? Like, I have Shannon, but he's my cousin and we're partners. You know, if he was like, dude, I don't want to be partners with you anymore and hang out with you while you do work stuff, I'd be like, okay, well, we're still friends, right? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. For sure we are. Of course, we're family. We're friends. And then I would continue working and he would continue working on whatever we're working on and we'd never talk again. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't have like a supplement. I wouldn't like, oh, you know what? I'm going to start going to the store and trying to meet people, or going to church. I guess I'll go to church now and try to meet people at church. Meet new friend guys at church. You know, maybe I'll become part of the community and meet people at church. I think about that crap sometimes. I'm like, but that's not me. But my dad would be like, I met this guy. He was the guy that works on our mowers, and I talked to him. And, you know, I met the guy that works on not the guy that sells the plows, but the guy that works on the snow plows. And he's a friend of mine, you know, like smart like a fox sometimes, where he'd get in on the people that are actually doing the work and then you know, light them up, grease them wheels. And then those people became family friends. And So I was like 24. My dad had a family friend named Little Doug. And we called him that because compared to normal sized men, this gentleman was much smaller. So he was Little Doug. If we knew another Doug, we just call him Doug. If we knew a big Doug, guess what? There's Big Doug. So Little Doug and my dad were buddies. But it's, yeah, you got to understand, guys, there is a different era. There's just an evolution that happens, and it will be televised, just like the revolution was. But my point is, in comedy, or what people think is funny, or what people think is entertainment, there are the baby boomers that think something's funny. There are the people that are older than the baby boomers that think that something's funny. And you can't change their mind on whether or not, you can't be like, this is dumb. Why do you like this? You can say that, but they won't agree with you. Like, there's going to be times, if your parent is 53 to 63, if that's the age range of your parent, you're going to walk into a room sometime and Jeff Dunham's going to be on, and old Meemaw's jaw is going to be on the floor because she's going to be giggling so hard. Did you hear what Walter said? And so that's what happens, dude. And you'll walk in and be like, what is this shit? You know, what is this? What is this toy? What is this? This man is clearly making the sounds. Like, it's not even, Jeff Dunham's not even good anymore. I don't know if you've watched his latest special. Jeff Dunham doesn't try to hide the fact that his mouth is moving anymore as a ventriloquist. He just speaks next to a doll. And then the doll's mouth doesn't match the words, and nobody cares. It's just a bunch of drugged out people watching, in their mid-50s, watching Jeff Dunham and clapping like a bunch of walruses. That's what's happening in the world, buddy. And then if it's not Jeff Dunham, it's Bert Kreischer. Then if you're 48 to 54, you think it's funny that he doesn't have his shirt on. And he talks about having kids because he's the only comedian that has them. You know what I mean? That hasn't abandoned them. So there's just different generations of comedy. And when Little Doug was my dad's friend, Little Doug said, hey, buddy, I got 4 tickets to Larry the Cable Guy. You know, Larry the Cable Guy. The guy that makes the biscuit and gravy chip? My father asked inquisitively. Little Doug turned to him and said, yes, the same gentleman, in fact, who makes a pickle-flavored vodka. Larry the Cable Guy's coming to town. And so my dad immediately being excited, because my dad is, I'm fortunate enough where he's not that much older than me. My dad's 8 years older than me. And he called me up, and so we're in the same generation. And he said, good news, buddy, Little Doug come through. And I said, come through with what? What did Little Doug come? Did he come through a small hole? Because that's how small he is. He said, no, Little Doug come through. He got us tickets to Larry the Cable Guy. I said, why? I mean, did he pay for him or did he win him or something? Did he go to a gas station and somebody hand it to him, or, find him in the stall or something? What do you mean? And he said, no, he bought him for us. And I was wanting to take you because I know you like comedy. And I said, okay. I said, yes, I do. And I can't wait to go. And thank you. And tell Little Doug thank you. And I can't wait. We're going to have a great time. And that's what you have to do sometimes. And guess what? Change your mindset, buddy. I did. I changed my mindset. I said, I'm going to go watch this biscuit and gravy poser, this Nebraska poser, this Todd and Tyler disciple poser. I'm going to go watch his stand-up, which I've already seen, which I already know the jokes, My sister, she's a bigger gal. She's a bigger gal. Yep. It was a fun, well, I'll tell you this, though. we went to Larry the Cable Guy, and it was fine. It was a big old glass of fine and okayness. And so the part that makes Larry the Cable Guy fine is there's 10,000 other people who think that Larry the Cable Guy is funny in the audience with you at the same time. And you sit down and everybody's drinking beer. That helps. And then you drink 3 or 4 beers and Larry the Cable Guy comes out and these people go frickin' buck wild. They turn up. You know what I mean? They turned up. When frickin' LTCG, when frickin' LTCG hits the stage, they're turned up. They're wilding out. Like Nick Cannon says. They're wilding the F out. And so you can't help but love that energy. And you feed from it and you realize it doesn't matter that this gentleman's not funny on stage. All these people are enjoying it. And they're laughing. And I'm laughing with them and at them. And so I loved it. And I would say that he's probably Larry the Cable Guy, LTCG, is probably top 3. If there was a Mount Rushmore right next to the Black Hills, if there's a Mount Rushmore of comedians, you got to put him on there. And so the reason I bring all that up is Little Doug, when he was going to go out to see comedy or to try to manipulate the brains of women into doing adult stuff with him, he would drive a minivan. Okay? He'd drive a minivan. And because in his logic, which at the time I was 24, perfect logic, he said cops aren't ever looking for minivans. And also, this is years ago. And he was right. He was at peak. You could kill 3 or 4 people. You could just have, you go to Idaho and get you 3 or 4. Throw them in a minivan. Be drinking your whole way across country. And nobody will pull you over. You could have a leg sticking out. And people be like, yeah, dude, being a parent is hard. Sometimes kids put their legs out of minivan doors. Nobody's going to call the authorities on a minivan. Back then. Back in 2004, 2005. You barely had a cell phone. You had a crappy brick cell phone. Maybe you had a flip phone at the time. You're doing that weird text thing where it's like, holy 333 and 8888. Like, you got to get to the letters. Holy crap. It took you 20 minutes to write a text. So nobody cared. So if you were driving a minivan, you could get away with murder. I'm not saying that as the common phrase. I'm saying it because you can get away with murder back then. But the minivan has switched, and that's where I'm coming to. Because on the way home from the taco shop tonight, so I'm driving 25 miles, and a lot of that mileage happens on a highway in between world-famous town of Stroud on Route 66 and my town of Prague on Highway 99. I'll drive 20 miles on Highway 99 from Stroud to Prague. Maybe it's 19. And there was a minivan in front of me. And there's construction on Highway 99 right now, which most of you know. Most of you know that. I shouldn't even say that. But they're putting new tar or whatever. I never know if it's cement or if it's asphalt. What's the difference between asphalt and I don't know. I know what an asphalt man would say. It's the aggregate that they use. It's just the little chunks of rock inside there. It's just different kinds of rocks for different kinds of same kind of concept, but it's just asphalt is a mixture of this kind of aggregate, like mainly like a shale and a small. It's just crushed up cement. I don't care. I don't care enough to ever really know. So, anyways, I'm following. They're putting in, so it's under construction. So speed limit's 55, supposedly, this whole way. Nobody here, they're all on drug. They don't care. But as I was following this minivan, I realized minivans are no longer it has evolved past that. They're no longer the no DUI mobile, like the safe mobile. Minivans have turned from that into, if you're driving a minivan now, you're either a drug addict or you are like a kid snatcher. Kid Snatcher was a radio show I used to listen to coming out of Dallas in the mornings. Kid Snatcher in the mornings. Hey, everybody, I'm Kid Snatcher. Yeah, we got the phrase that pays coming up right after this song by No Doubt. I'm sorry, walking through the spider webs. Man, there's no way this woman's hot. She's never going to marry Blake Shelton. You know, that was Kid Snatcher show. But if you're driving a minivan now, you're probably on drugs, like on methamphetamines, and you're probably looking for humans to sell. You're into human trafficking, and you want to sell kids so you can buy more methamphetamines. That's what people who drive minivans is now. And here's the thing. They're driving the minivan because they think this is the perfect vehicle. Cops are on to you guys, because here's the new safe vehicle. The new safe vehicle is a freaking Nissan Murano. For the past 15 years, Buick Enclave, Ford Edge, Ford Explorer. For the past decade, every car manufacturer has been making the same white bubble for suburban housewives to drive. And just like to plan, anytime one of those gorgeous women enter one of these white bubbles that they drive around in, it doesn't have to be theirs. They get in their friends, they go, this is nice, it's roomy, and it's not as ugly as a minivan. The whole culture has changed. Every woman drives, every white middle-class woman drives a damn SUV that's white. That's what they drive. Or they drive the Tahoe. And that just shows that you make more money. You're upper middle class. And so cops don't pull them over now. That's the new minivan. So now the old minivan are left for two people. The meth addicts that are also trafficking humans and foreigners. Asians. Asian Americans, Asians. Asians that are in America. Asians just visiting. An Asian person loves a minivan. And I know you're probably like, but why? And I thought that too. But you probably thought like, oh, I bet the reason an Asian person loves a minivan is because, you know, if they have some sort of food item, there's usually 4 cup holders in the cockpit of a minivan. You can put your dippin' sauce, your sweet and sour sauce, right in one of those cup holders, grab a General Chow, dip it, hit it. You know what I mean? And that's a racist thought on your part for thinking that. I don't know why you would think that the reason an Asian loves a minivan is for sauce conveyance. I don't know why you would think that. I didn't go there. You did. But really, I think the reason that an Asian, in particular, enjoys a minivan is the futuristic aspect. Asians always like the future. Reggie White said it in his Hall of Fame speech, or when he was a preacher. Reggie White was a defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. And he said it in a speech that the Asians are good at technology. They put a calculator in your watch. And he was right, whether he said that at his Hall of Fame speech, which I hope he did, or just as a preacher, when he was Reverend White. And anyways, they love technology. And here's the thing that a minivan has that no other van has. Even those vans that, those vans that people will say, like, we're just going to kind of backpack. I don't want to be held down. I want to travel. I want to see things, and I don't need much. I'm a minimalist. And me and, what's a good name? Tristan. When I met Tristan, I knew he was my, I don't want to say he was my soulmate. I don't want to say that he was my spirit animal. But Tristan wants to travel too. He doesn't want to work a traditional job. He wants to be on the road, looking at new things and experiencing life. That's Tristan. That's me. And they buy those vans that are like windowless that you can do drug in at the Grand Canyon and cook on a little George Foreman or whatever and, get pregnant, have a kid, realize, this is not an appropriate way to raise a normal child. And so come back, try to get a job. Because you were out for 7 years exploring, you have no references and no work history, and you get a crappy receptionist job and you struggle the rest of your life. But at least you got to see the country. Mm-hmm. But they buy those vans. They don't get technology. They buy those vans that have the doors. This is where I sleep. This is where, I'm Tristan, and I built this bed. It's funny when they do a walkthrough of shit that they built, and it's like, we know. I mean, I'm positive Mercedes didn't build that. So when you open your dumbass living out of your backpack door van, when you open that stupid door and you're like, I built that and I built that cabinet, it's like, yeah, we can tell. We can absolutely tell. Mercedes didn't do that. That looks like shit. I'm not apologize for cursing. I'm going to try not to do that in 2023. Or starting now. So, Asian, that's not enough technology. That's not a calculator watch. Reggie White wasn't preaching about a van with doors that open like normal doors. He was preaching about technology. He was preaching about Asians and their love of it. And minivan has doors that slide. And one of the things that happens with sliding doors on a minivan is the mechanisms, the tracks that your door slides in are notorious. Notorious, B-I-G. They're notorious for getting gribblies in them. They'll get gribblies in there. So you'll be driving along. You just got groceries. Slid it. Guy put groceries in. Slid it shut. Driving along. Just a normal Asian day. Just doing your normal Asian stuff. Back to the dry clean. Ooh. I love this channel. This is a great channel. It's Kid Snatcher. It's my favorite radio host. I'm sorry that I'm walking through the spider webs. You're just driving. But you get home and you try to unload your groceries. Door doesn't work. Gribbly's in it. And I know what you're thinking. One of a Japanese man or a Chinese man or a Taiwanese man or a Vietnamese man, one of their favorite words to say is sliding. So they'll walk into a room and say, the sliding doors do not work. Americans don't want to say the sliding doors don't work. White people don't want to say that anymore. They said it for 10 years. So then they started driving SUVs with normal doors again. But that didn't look like pedophilia vans, like the ones the backpackers. So they drove minivans, then they drove SUVs. They hated the minivans because even though it had sliding doors, the sliding doors would never slide. Asians love saying the word sliding. The sliding doors never work. They love that. And I think that's why Asians drive minivans. So anyways, as I was driving home tonight, I was following a minivan thinking about this because he was doing like 85 miles an hour in a 55. And I was trying to pass him at first because you never want a minivan to lead the pack. But couldn't catch him. He was too high. He was doing drug. He was on meth. That's just a theory I have on minivans and Asians and people that do drugs. Thank you. So every time I come out here, I get boogers. Boogers. I apologize for that. I'm gonna blow my nose momentarily. I don't know what I'm allergic to out here. I just get stuffed up. I think I'm allergic to. I got a big old blanket over there of a wolf. And I'd show you, but I don't think you could see it. Could be that. It's like the passages, the nasal passages up here are full or swolled. So, and if you're wondering, yes, banana peels, if left untouched with no banana left in them, they will mold and they will rot. I can absolutely say that at this point. So here's something that all of you married people, if you're one of the fortunate audience members that has found love and has put a ring on it and said, with this ring, I thee wed. I love you so hard. I'm going to love you forever. I promise you that, girl. If you found that, or, oh, honey, husband, I love you, husband. If you found that, one, that's a miracle, and God bless you. And I hope it lasts forever till you die, and then beyond, to death and beyond. That's what I say to your love life and your marriage. But you'll understand this next take. And those of you who are long-term dating, you might understand it also. So here goes. Once you've been married for a certain number of years, and I don't know what that number is. Nobody ever writes it down. I certainly did not. But an expectation, or not even that. It's not that. A comfort. A comfort in your own skin becomes obvious to your partner. You know, so you'll go out to dinner or you'll go anywhere and you'll be around family or you'll be around friends or whatever you're around, and you might be interested in topics, you might be participating in conversations and all that stuff. But when you get back into your Nissan Murano with your wife, you drive home in silence, or you barely say anything because you know everything, and you know that the person that was just in the room, whether it was her or you, or him or you, you know that was just, that's you're turning the on switch on and playing a game, and then once you turn it off, you're back with your comfort buddy, and you're just going home, and you don't have to talk about, whether or not the Bengals can make it to the Super Bowl again with me. We don't have to have a discussion about that. Now, can I? Absolutely. Do I want to? No. But will I? Sure, I'll do it. If in the right context. But I'm not going to do it with my comfort buddy because it's not something I'm comfortable with. So you get that, which is beautiful. That's the beautiful thing about marriage. So I can come home and my wife will be like, "Can I have hey, I was wondering if I get a hug or a kiss." And I'm like, I'm in a different mindset right now, or in a different mood, or I don't want to talk, or all that stuff. And she gets it. I'm autistic and stupid, and I'm like that, and she accepts me for it and loves me for it. So, she knows I'm out here doing the show. She'll listen to the show and she's like, I'm not going to do that in there. I'm thinking about this stuff when I'm in there. Then I come out here and I say it, If I say it in there, I don't get to say it out here. And that's an autism thing. But either way, it's a comfort level. And so the problem, though, most of that is great. Most of that is perfect. Most of that is what you want. But the problem with it is you become you don't feel like you eliminate risks. You don't feel like there's risks anymore on certain things, or you don't even think about them. And what I'm saying is this. I've been together long enough now where, and my mind goes in crazy places, and I'm in the sense of I'm thinking about stuff sometimes, and especially recently, and I got problems in my head that I'm trying to solve, that I don't know how to do, and I have no experience in, and so I'm piecing them together in my head, like this will fit, this will work, and let's try this. We got to do this, and don't trip up, and keep all these different things, and you're fitting them, boom, boom. So you're not thinking about the snuggles and all that stuff. You're not thinking about the intimacy that a relationship needs sometimes. And so that could be weeks where you haven't thought about that. And it's not a big deal, and you're not mad about it, and they're not. But then there'll be a time when you're standing there trying to read a manual, not the screenplay, a manual on how a soundboard works. And you're reading it, and all of a sudden that comfort buddy comes up and grabs a butt cheek. Like, hey, baby, I like those pants on you. It's like, what's up? What's going on with you, girl? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you touching me? Stop it. That kind of thing. And then they're like, I'm just thinking that maybe tonight, maybe tonight. That kind of thing. The old head nod. You get it, guy. You get it. That's cool. And that's what marriage is. There's no, she wasn't wearing a negligee when she did that. She was wearing a pediatrics t-shirt for a pediatrics office. She's wearing, normal pants. And she just grabbed my butt and said, maybe tonight. It's like, there you go. All right, maybe. I mean, I doubt it. But if history has taught me anything, I'm not planning on it. But all right, there you go. Thank you. That kind of thing. But then here's the thing that my brain goes to. Hers goes to, she walks off thinking, he still wants it. He still wants me. He still wants, and it's like, I do. Yeah. Always did. Just kind of preoccupied, and it's not you, and I don't bother with that kind of stuff. I don't bother somebody. I try not to with it anymore. I don't. You realize as you stay in the relationship, you stop becoming the dog that is in heat. You know what I mean? You stop becoming the person that's scratching at the door. Like, hey, when are we gonna? You stop that crap. There's a time and place for it, I think. I guess. I don't know. You go through it. But you get past it, and it's like, when it comes, it'll come, and that's fine. When it's there, and that's great. And okay, that's the comfort buddy side, guy. But then you walk in the kitchen, and you're like, what are you thinking? If tonight really is a butt cheek night, where you're grabbing a butt cheek, and why are you cooking ham and beans? That is a risky move. That's a risky move. I don't know if you've ever eaten black-eyed, I don't know if they're black-eyed beans or black-eyed peas, or they're a bean, they're a legume. But you eat a bowl, I don't know. Ham and beans happens because Christmas happens. Blame Jesus. Because people cook a ham on Christmas, they get a ham bone, and they go, it's really good? Ham and beans. And it's like, if it was so good, and it's just a soup. It's chili, kind of. It's soup, kind of. Nobody ever's like, oh, whew, I get a bite of that soup. What is that? What is that throw up looking stuff you got right there? Let me get a bite of that. soup sucks. And ham and beans is just a thicker soup. Chili is just a thick soup, and I get it. It has its place, You throw chili on a chili dog, I'm not throwing you off the roof or anything. I get it. But ham and beans is not a good food. Otherwise, people would eat ham and beans all the time. They don't. And the reason they don't, maybe the reason they don't is because when you eat a ham and bean bowl, you turn into, it's the Battle of Normandy inside of your anus. You have turned into bombs over Baghdad, buddy. You can't control it. And you'll get that sick feeling because you're around somebody you love and you don't want to fart on them. You'll get that sick feeling in your stomach. And you'll hold it in. And then you'll have one of those tremendous boogers when you go to the bathroom to try to release your pressure. That is what happens when you're eating ham and beans. It is the artillery of the flagellant army. Ham and beans. And so I know my wife cooked those ham and beans all day and smelt it all day. And who smelt it, dealt it. And she dealt herself at least a bowl, probably 2 bowls. Okay? Probably 2 bowls. And probably a couple bites of everybody else's bowl. Can I get by that? And now you're going to make a pass at the old man? You're going to make a pass at the guy? That's a dangerous game. And are you comfortable enough to where if intimacy provides, if intimacy shows up, there's a significant chance of, a third voice being in the room. And this one coming from underneath the covers. Do not. Why do you think that that's something that if you're going to make a pass, you do it on a night where it's like, I'm not eating. You do it on a night where you're eating like, I think I'm going to cover this steak in cheese. Why? No reason. You got to bottle it up. That's what I'm saying. Because you get in the mood, you get in the thing, and it's buddy. Come on. You're gonna throw a fart out pretty easily, and that's not fun for anyone. It's not fun, it's not funny, and it's funny and it is fun, but it's not for either, because it ruins the mood and it makes you think like, well, we're so comfortable with each other that who cares? That kind of thing. Who cares? The answer is the other person is the person who cares. And you're like, well, we're married. It's like, yeah, you think we would be married if, during our engagement, if you grabbed my butt, ate a bowl of beans and farted on me as we tried to make love, you think that you think we'd be married right now? Because I've been like, yeah, that chick that I was engaged to totally ate a bunch of beans and farted on me last night, so I dumped her. 60% of marriages end in divorce. 50% of those are because the woman ate a bunch of beans or the man ate a bunch of beans every time they were going to make love. That's the stats that you don't get on other shows, guys. That's facts coming from me. So think about that. That's the thing, dude. I just don't like soup. The funny thing is, I almost like it. I like the idea. I like the flavor. I don't know what it is. I think it's a depression thing. I think it's all the movies that you've seen of, like, the people who have to eat a metally of wet proteins are usually incarcerated or it was during like wartime, or it was during the Great Depression. And then, or just the underdeveloped countries where they don't have much. And you'll see some big old cauldron and they're just dishing out stuff to people. And I think a lot of that, I think it's mentally, that's what I visualize people eating when somebody's like, what are we having for dinner tonight? And they're like, we're having soup. And I think, what the hell? Why? What happened? Did you lose your job at work, Mike? Why is your wife cooking soup? Did you lose your job? Did she lose her job? Is there a medical emergency that you're having to pay for or something? Like, what's going on? Because my brain immediately associates wet proteins, a bowl of wet proteins with being poor, like real poor, desperate. I think desperate's the better word because I'm poor. I don't make any money. I do a job where I spend it and haven't made any. But I'm not desperate yet. When I get to desperation, it's like, hey, I got an idea for dinner tonight. Why don't we pour water on this potato? And then grab that bag of beans and just heat all that up and put some salt on it, and I think it's going to be good. Like, you're desperate. And if you're not to that stage and you're choosing to eat a desperate person's meal, it's weird to me. And I've always thought that. That's the way I've always thought about soups. So, I don't know why people say like, oh, we're having goulash. You mean thicker soup? You mean thicker desperation? You mean you're rubbing your nose into the desperate to me. It's like, I get it that you guys are forced to eat this stuff. We're choosing to because we think that it's not so bad for you. And I don't like that. And I get it that that's probably overthinking it. That's nothing to do with it. When you're eating a clam chowder, it's like, just enjoy the clam. Just enjoy the clam. You taste the clam in there? What? I'm having clam chowder, sir. Hold on. Let me taste the clam. Super salad. Ooh, what's your soup of the day? Clam chowder. Well, I always like to eat a big old bowl of clam chowder before I have a hamburger. I think I'll have clam chowder. It's a perfect palate cleanser for hamburger. What? I don't know what clam chowder tastes like. Clams, I'm assuming, or chowder. I don't know what that tastes like either. So, God, there's ham and beans in there, and I got a heavy petter. She's heavy petting after I know she's had 2.5 bowls of beans. So it's going to be a wild evening down here in Prague. I'll tell you that. I don't know. Just get yourself a freaking minivan, put on a flannel shirt, start selling clam chowder out of the back of that thing. It's got a sliding door. You're going to have a great time. Open the sliding door. Clam chowder. I don't know. So, I'm feeling goofy. I almost died today. I almost died. I mean, everybody almost dies every day. Every day is a risk, and it's also a reward. So enjoy it. But we'll probably talk about it tomorrow a little bit on the OK Taco Show. But here's the thing, buddy. Nobody notices, and we've talked about this before, but nobody notices anything. Nobody notices anything. And so, when we bought that shop, one of the first things I noticed is that's a gigantic flagpole out front. I've had people come there and not know that there's a flagpole. They don't look up, they don't see it, they're on their phone, they're checked out. But it's there, and it's huge. It's a huge 100-foot flagpole. And so, or 75-foot. Steel, and it's been on the top of my mind as far as like one of those problems I'm trying to solve. I've never lowered a 75-foot flagpole before. How do you do it? There's no, and even if there is, now they're telescopic and they're made of aluminum and they're lightweight and you can raise them and tighten them and then raise all that kind of crap. That's not how this one's built. It was built with an anchor in the ground with a bolt through it, and it can swivel down. So the whole weight of the pole, and I don't know how much, it doesn't weigh that much. Even made of steel, it doesn't weigh that much, but because it's so big that once you get that weight up, 20 foot in the air on its way to its straight up position, it weighs a crap load, and the wind's catching it, and it's cattywampus, and it is frightening. And the obvious solution to it probably would have been to get a very thick chain, and because a chain won't stretch and a chain won't, if you get a thick enough one, won't break, and we could have lowered it very easily. But we had a rope because we already had it. We didn't want to spend money. We don't have any money. Back to being poor. We're building this taco shop out of soup, so we don't have anything. And so you lay that flagpole down. Well, I'm pulling forward. We got a rope attached to a truck, and we're pulling forward. And you get to the point where the weight, the whole end of this thing, you're only 10 foot up on your rope. And so you have the other 65 foot of steel leaning, and then stretches that rope. Freaking thing smashes on the ground, breaks the end piece with the pulley on it, and now you got a flagpole. It's laying on the ground. How do you get it back up? But you can't get it back up that day because you got to order a new end piece, because you can't just go anywhere to buy a 2.5-inch end piece for a flagpole with a pulley on it. So it lays there. You order the thing. You make it work. Blah blah blah. And today was the day. It's just me and Shannon. We should have went and bought a chain. We should have went and bought a chain and hooked it up and then backed the truck straight up. But instead, it's like, let's use these come-alongs and these all this other crap that we still bought. We didn't have it. So we should have not bought it, bought a chain, hooked it up. But you don't know, and it's like, it's only got to get this distance, and you're pulling, and it's not, the flagpole would kill me if it come down and crushed me. So that part is kind of a worry. But the more worry is this strap or this rope is going to break, or it's going to pull this the supporting pole down, and it's going to freaking cut my head off, is what's going to happen. And there was a lot of that going on today. So for about 2 hours, we were backing my Power Stroke truck into this pole with the flatbed to push it up, simultaneously ratcheting straps and loosening them and ratcheting them, and big toe straps, not little ones, and watching them be very weak, and watching everything sway and the welds, and oh my Lord, and it was very frightening and very scary. And you get home and there's just a plate of soup for you, and it's perfect. It's perfect. It's like, how was your day? Well, great. Flagpole looks great. It's up. And it's like, that's good. There you go. Really? You have a flagpole? I didn't ever notice your flagpole. Yeah, well, we had one. We had to take it down and then put it back up. Oh, you got it? So you got it? There you go. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, it was the most frightening thing I've ever done in my life. Ever. It was frightening. It's same. I mean, that one time when I was playing Topgolf on the 3rd level in Nashville with a bunch of strangers at a bowling convention, and I'm afraid of heights, and swinging a golf club, 3 feet from the lip of a edge that you're going to fall off of. Yeah, that was pretty frightening. But, standing on the roof of the taco shop, even though it's only 10 foot off the ground, frightening. I hate heights. That's frightening. uh-oh, what am I going to do? Jump off the here? What's happening to me? Why am I not jumping? Jump off, you're going to die. Don't. That's what a fear of heights does to somebody. I wish people would understand that. It's not the fact that you don't care that you're off the ground. You're standing on something. You don't care that. What you care is everything in your body is telling you to jump. That's and you're fighting that. You're going to fall, you better jump. You're going to fall, you better jump. And it's like you can't, because then you will die. That's what the fear of heights is in people. But the only other time I've blindly done some very dangerous stuff with equipment and stuff. I mean, and God has let me pass. Is the only thing I can say. God has let me through. Because I look back on stupid, just basic physics. And the maneuvers that I was using with machinery and different things, and how I didn't decapitate myself or cut my arm off or cut my hand off or cut my stomach open, or, you know what I mean? I've been grinding on my stomach before. Like, I've had a grinding wheel and be like, I'll cut this and use my stomach as the, like, what the hell are you doing? You could literally cut your stomach open. It is a centimeter away, you frickin' idiot. But I'm fine, and God looked out for me. And I didn't have fear at all. I didn't even think about it till after. That's not the case with heights, and that's not the case because you're in it. It's not the case with this flagpole. You're in it, and you're thinking about all of it. And so we made it through. We got it up, and it does look great. It doesn't. It may not. We should have painted the pole and all that shit, but sorry, I'm not going to curse this year. But I don't want to do it again. Even if I know the solution, I don't want to do it again. I'm fine with, I hope it lasts a long time and never comes down again, and we just replace the rope every month. I'd rather replace the rope every month, so it's always a new rope and a new flag if need be, than do that crap again. Ooh. So I'm going to go inside. I'm going to eat some beans. And we'll see how the night goes. It should be good. We submitted our application, and we'll talk about this on the show tomorrow, OK Taco Show, which is also found here on Patreon. But you do have to be a patron to listen to the OK Taco Show. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. We got our application submitted. We have a bunch of all the big stuff, big projects are pretty much done. A lot of mistakes, a lot of dumb things we did, a lot. But we did it, and we got through it, and we're going to open very soon. And, we'll see how that all works and what happens. And as far as this show goes, I love it, and I love coming out to my shed, and I love doing the show by myself. So it will always be once a week. I'll get it more consistent once I have a schedule. Right now we don't have. It's get to the shop at 10:30 or so, and work until 8:30, 8. I try to get home so I can see my kids before bed. That's it. So, and that's all going to change. Everything's going to change once it's open. That's why I've been keeping that schedule. But that show, the OK Taco Show, should become more consistent schedule. I'd like it to be very consistent, like the same time, the same days of the week, whether it's 1 or 2 times a week. And same goes for this show. If it's every Thursday, then maybe it's every Thursday morning. Maybe I'll record them on a Wednesday night or Thursday morning. I don't know. So, but now that we're getting to this stage, I get to, that becomes, it's a detail. It's all details, right? You've been with me through everything. If you really have been with me, if you've been with the Connie G show into the Conrad and Jack show, especially, and that run, and then that transition to those guys from Wichita, and all my crazy transitions and my mental breakdowns and all that crap is all recorded. It's all out there. What I'm thinking, what I'm mad about, what I'm planning, all this different crap. It's out there. And, and I'm not saying it's getting better. I'm just saying that this little phase is about to then start a new phase of being open and then see where it goes. And what I think and what I say, I don't know, but I like saying it and I like thinking it and I like telling you and I like thinking about minivans and beans. So that's life. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing it. And we'll go from here. We're out of money. And you just got to do it. You got to open the doors. And that's scary. And sometimes I think that you find that's what I'm trying to also do is remember, don't try to find things to keep yourself from opening. Because that can happen. Like, oh, maybe we should finish this before. It's like you eventually get to a point. Now it's time. So, and that's the point we're at right now. So, it's good. It's good news. Everything's good. We keep praying for us. If you do that kind of crap, I appreciate it. Pray for yourself. Take it easy. Do your best. So, with that being said, don't let your meatloaf have an okay day. Love yourself. Thank you. And I'll be back next week with more thoughts from the Midwest. So, loves.